Amber Cox. Amber, I gotta give you a little bit of credit here, and I'll tell you why. Because unlike Kelly Krauskopf running away, hiding, turning off her Twitter, deleting her Twitter, going into hibernation and refusing to come out, Amber Cox, you're a little different, and I gotta give you credit for that.
That right there is a man who's done playing nice. And the target of that energy is Amber Cox, the Indiana Fever's chief operating officer, who has spent the last several weeks turning her own Twitter account into a daily target practice session for one of the most passionate fan bases in professional sports. Why? Because unlike Kelly Krauskopf, who deleted her account and went into hiding, Amber Cox keeps posting. And every single day, the Caitlin Clark fanbase shows up to remind her exactly how they feel.
Caitlin Clark fans. The Indiana Fever fans, I'm starting to kind of separate them into a different... It's the Caitlin Clark fans, you know, the local ones, the ones who voice their displeasure. It's the Indiana Fever fans who are all in on Stephanie White. Those are Fever fans. It's the Indiana Fever fans who are all in on the Fever front.
Pay attention to that distinction, because it matters more than people realize. There's a separation happening in real time between Caitlin Clark fans, Indiana Fever fans, and front office loyalists. And the Fever's own executives are accelerating that split with every passive-aggressive social media post they fire off. Amber Cox is not just commenting on basketball. She's actively antagonizing the very fans who showed up, who bought the tickets, who drove the ratings that made this franchise relevant again. And the receipts are piling up fast.
So much to me, in case you missed it, we won the game and these two showed out. Talking about AB and Kelsey Mitchell, 45 points from the both of them. Woo! Uh-oh. Y'all ready for this? The half-empty arena did in fact miss it. You are not building Apple. You are not as smart as you think you are. The equation is actually quite simple. Yet you are spearheading the single greatest bag fumble in the history of professional sports. Congrats. Yeah, they're not Apple.
The half-empty arena did in fact miss it. That single line tells you everything you need to know about where the Indiana Fever sits right now. This is a franchise that, just 2 years ago, was selling out road arenas, breaking television records, and generating more headlines than the rest of the league combined. Now, empty seats in their own building, fans openly calling for trades, and a front office that responds not with reflection, but with sarcasm. The BlackBerry comparison is brutal, but accurate. BlackBerry had the entire smartphone market in its hands. They were untouchable. And then they got arrogant, ignored what customers wanted, and within a few short years they were a punchline. The Indiana Fever inherited generational talent. They inherited a fan base that was ready to follow Caitlin Clark anywhere. And they're squandering it in real time.
This franchise doesn't deserve her. Love that. But also disappointed that I drove 4 hours and took time off work and saved money to buy tickets and hotel to watch the Fever just to be told an hour and a half before that CC would be out. I feel bad for you, Contessa. I feel bad for you. Come watch the BDP.
Read that again. A fan drove 4 hours, took unpaid time off work, saved up for tickets and a hotel, and was informed an hour and a half before tip-off that the player she was traveling to see would not be playing. An hour and a half, not the day before, not at morning shoot-around, 90 minutes before the doors opened. By that point, she's already in Indianapolis. The money is already spent, the hotel is non-refundable, and the team's response was, essentially, sorry about your luck. This is not a one-off, this is a pattern. Fever fans have been complaining about late injury announcements, vague injury reports, and a complete lack of transparency for months now. And instead of addressing it, Amber Cox is on Twitter posting in case you missed it.
Look, Jesus. Good luck to the Fever and these two when CC goes to the Liberty. Keep this same energy on the losses. Yikes. Actually, we did miss it because we were so tired of, we were so tied up trying to figure out who from your organization is lying about Caitlin Clark's situation. Who's lying, who's covering for them, who's running the play for them. Scott, Chloe, Hank, Tony.
Tell your coaches to stop grabbing players. That comment refers to multiple incidents this season where Stephanie White and members of the Fever coaching staff have been seen on broadcast video physically grabbing Caitlin Clark by the arm, by the jersey, pulling her into huddles, redirecting her on the floor in ways that have made even casual observers uncomfortable. It's not a good look. It hasn't been a good look. And the fans noticed long before the front office did. Now add in the actual basketball product. Caitlin Clark released a children's picture book this month, a genuinely lovely accomplishment for a 24-year-old superstar. And Amber Cox decides the appropriate response is a sarcastic "so cool, what can't she do?" That's the COO of the team she plays for.
Make the front office and coaches stop lying to the fans. Apparently, she can't have a decent coach or a strong roster constructed around her. She can't get a competent front office and a coaching staff that will let her be her. Apparently, she can't get any praise from her coaching staff. She can't play to her strengths without getting pulled and benched for not being a defensive player. She can't explain why attendance is plummeting right now for the Fever. She can't play center. She can't get away from the pathetic Indiana Fever fast enough. That's what she can't.
That list is the entire indictment in one sustained breath. Make the front office stop lying to the fans. Get a decent coach. Get a competent roster constructed around her. Get a coaching staff that lets her be herself. Get praise instead of public benchings for defensive lapses. Run the pick and roll. Shoot her threes. Run the floor. Play Caitlin Clark basketball. None of these are radical demands. These are the foundational expectations for a franchise that drafted the most marketable player in the sport's history. And the fan base is openly questioning whether any of them are being met. The attendance numbers are dropping. The Fever, who led the WNBA in attendance and television ratings, are now watching their home crowds visibly shrink in their own building. And the front office's answer is a TikTok-style clapback on Twitter.
This is bad. It's bad news bears. Here we go, Lexi Hull. This is craziness. This is craziness. A Lexi Hull post, and we love Lexi, right? Lexi's a fan favorite. Underneath the Indiana Fever post, nothing but love. Underneath the Amber Cox reposting it, well, I can't say Amber Cox has the same fate. In case you missed it, alienating Caitlin Clark fans with sardonic barbs ultimately hurts the Fever. Never seen people fumble multiple opportunities to corral players' fans into team fans. Going about it this divisively is why most Fever fans will leave if and when Caitlin leaves. Do better. I'm a Caitlin Clark fan. Oh well, sue me. Whatever. So this barb that some people try to do.
That's not a hater. That's not a basement troll. That's not a Caitlin Clark stan account with 3 followers. That is Lexi Hall, a respected longtime Fever creator, someone who has been in the trenches defending this organization. And even she is now saying out loud what everyone else has been thinking. Alienating Caitlin Clark fans with sardonic barbs ultimately hurts the Fever. When you've lost Lexi Hall, you have lost the room. This is no longer a fringe complaint from anonymous accounts. This is the core of the engaged fan base, the people who actually consume Fever content year-round, telling the front office that their behavior is divisive and damaging to the long-term health of the franchise. And the kicker? Going about it this divisively is why most Fever fans will leave if and when Caitlin leaves. That sentence is the entire business case. The fans the Fever are insulting today are the same fans who decide whether this franchise has a viable future after Clark eventually moves on.
It's all right, you'll come around eventually. You will come around eventually. The Fever have lost the fans without firing the coaching front office, aka you too, Amber. I don't think it's recoverable. Should trade Caitlin to a more competent organization. Do you really want the fan base against you and Stephanie? From the looks of the empty seats, lots of people missed it. Golly. You're supposed to beat up on expansion teams. Chill out. Shout out, Crash. You said in case you missed it. Now, why would you even think that? Oh, gosh.
Stop and consider what just happened in that observation. The Indiana Fever have managed to lose their fan base without firing a single coach or executive. There has been no front office shakeup, no coaching change, no major roster blowup. The damage has been entirely self-inflicted, executed in broadcast view of everyone, primarily through social media posts and an attendance trend that nobody in the building seems willing to acknowledge publicly. You are supposed to beat up on expansion teams. The Fever beat the Golden State Valkyries, an expansion squad, and the COO of the organization decided that warranted a victory lap aimed directly at the fans who pay her salary. That is the level of judgment currently operating inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Now, folks, I told you that I had footage of Stephanie, Amber, and Kelly running this team. Let's take a look, shall we?
Gen Z boss and a mini. Gen Z boss and a mini. Itty bitty cheese and a bomb. Itty bitty cheese and a bomb. 5'3" and an attitude. 5'3" and an attitude. Secret product in a trench. Secret product in a trench. New friend green and a sneaky link. New friend green and a sneaky link. Fake 10 hands in a hoop. Fake 10 hands in a hoop. Gen Z boss.
This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing in the office. Instead of working on roster construction, instead of working on strategy, instead of scouting, instead of marketing, they're fucking doing TikTok dances.
This is where the entire situation crystallizes into something almost surreal. The Indiana Fever, the most valuable property in women's professional basketball, the team that broke league television records, the team that nearly tripled their season ticket holder base, the team that sold out arenas across the country on the road. This franchise's most public-facing executives are spending their afternoons posting clapback content while the actual fundamentals of the operation crumble around them. Roster construction has been openly criticized by national analysts all season. The bench is thin. The defensive scheme has been incoherent in stretches. Caitlin Clark has been visibly frustrated on the floor in multiple games, caught on camera in heated exchanges with teammates and coaches. And the COO's chosen battlefield is a sarcasm war with the customer base on a social media platform. Let's lay out the full damage assessment, because the scale of what's happening here is genuinely historic in professional sports terms. You have a generational player, Caitlin Clark, 24 years old, currently signed to one of the most disrespectful rookie contracts in major American sports, somewhere in the neighborhood of $76,000 per year on her base WNBA salary, while single-handedly driving an estimated multi-hundred-million-dollar economic impact for the league across television rights, sponsorships, merchandise, and ticket sales. The CBA opt-out is approaching. Her market value will be unprecedented, and her current employer is publicly mocking her fan base on Twitter. You have a coaching situation that has produced multiple viral moments of player-coach friction. Stephanie White was hired with championship credentials, but the on-court product has not reflected those credentials. Caitlin Clark has been benched in fourth quarters. She has been pulled from games during scoring runs. She has been visibly pleading her case on the sidelines. National broadcasters have openly questioned the substitution patterns. None of this is invented by haters online. It's been on national television. You have a front office that has cycled through multiple public relations missteps in a single season. Vague injury reports, late announcements, conflicting statements from coaches and team officials about Clark's availability. And now an environment where fans are openly speculating with growing intensity about who exactly is telling the truth inside the building. You have an attendance trend that should terrify ownership. The Fever spent 2 years building the most rabid fan base in the WNBA. People drove across state lines. They booked hotels. They saved up specifically to see one player. And now those same people are publicly declaring they will not return until the front office and coaching staff are replaced. That is not a fan base venting. That is a fan base actively redirecting their consumer behavior. It shows up in season ticket renewals. It shows up in single game purchases. It shows up in television ratings. And eventually, if uncorrected, it shows up in franchise valuation. You have an organizational culture problem that is now visible from outside the building. When your COO is engaging in passive-aggressive social media warfare with the very customers funding the league's growth, you have lost institutional discipline. There is no plausible scenario in which Adam Silver, in his role overseeing the broader NBA-WNBA relationship, looks at Amber Cox's recent posting history and thinks this is good for business. There is no scenario in which Kathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, watches the Indiana market deteriorate and concludes that the league is being well served by its most important franchise. And let's address the elephant in the room: the trade rumors, the Liberty speculation, the growing chorus of voices, including national media members, suggesting that Caitlin Clark's long-term future may not be in Indianapolis. A year ago, that conversation would have been unthinkable. The Fever had the player, they had the market, they had the momentum. Today, it is a conversation happening openly on national radio, on podcasts, in mainstream sports columns, and every additional Amber Cox tweet accelerates it. Here is the harder truth that very few people in the Fever organization seem willing to confront. The fan base is not wrong. The complaints are not manufactured. The criticisms about coaching decisions, about roster construction, about injury transparency, about player-coach friction, about front office communication, every single one of these has documented verifiable evidence behind it. Pretending otherwise, posting sarcastic in case you missed it tweets after beating an expansion team, is not a strategy. It is denial expressed through Twitter. Lexi Hall's warning is the one that should be printed and posted in every Fever executive's office. Going about it this divisively is why most Fever fans will leave if and when Caitlyn leaves. That is not a threat. That is a forecast. The fans who are being mocked today are the customer base the Fever will need tomorrow, after Clark's contract situation resolves one way or another. If they remember being insulted, they do not come back. That is how brands die in the social media era. BlackBerry did not collapse because the phones stopped working. They collapsed because the customers stopped caring. And the Indiana Fever, under current leadership, are speed-running that exact trajectory. So here is the question worth sitting with. If you are Herb Simon, the owner of this franchise, sitting on what should be the most valuable asset in women's professional sports history, and you watch your COO spend her week trading sarcasm with the people writing the checks, what do you do about it? Because the longer this goes on, the harder the rebuild becomes. And when Caitlyn Clark eventually does sit down at a negotiating table to determine where she plays her prime years, every single one of these moments will be in the file. Every dismissive tweet, every passive-aggressive repost, every empty seat in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Drop your take in the comments. Is this fixable from inside the organization, or is the only path forward a complete leadership overhaul before the bag is permanently fumbled? Like the video if you want more coverage like this. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what happens next. Because this story is not slowing down, it's accelerating. And the next few months are going to determine whether the Indiana Fever become the most successful franchise in WNBA history, or the cautionary tale every business school uses to teach how not to handle a generational opportunity.